everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maxine and I like to teach people how to sew and draft patterns. I'm so excited for today's project. I'm going to show you how to make this cute two-piece. This is completely beginner friendly, so if you haven't done much sewing before, don't be scared. This is a super fun project to do and this is something that you can do really quickly. You guys, I am obsessed with this pattern. I've made so many shorts from it. I hope you're gonna love it as much as I do. These shorts sew so quickly and so easily, and they are super comfortable. We've got the frill hem and then we've got an elasticated waistband. So as you can see, I made so many different shorts from the same pattern. I just love it so much. And make sure that you do the baby doll top as well. I will link that video down below. Make sure you do the full set. I would love to see how yours came out. So let's jump right in. So let's go over all the things that we're going to need. Thread in the appropriate color. You'll need your fabric. So I've just chosen this gingham print, so the red one. I just thought this is quite a playful print, a playful fabric to use for this. Then you'll need some scallop edging. You'll need your pins. You'll need some elastic. So elastic, go for an elastic that's about 2.5 centimeters wide or 1 inch wide, and it's got like a good amount of stretch to it. Then you'll need a fabric marker. Make sure that your fabric marker is water erasable. Then you need two kinds of scissors. So you'll need your paper scissor and your fabric scissor. So I don't recommend cutting paper with your fabric scissor. I'm sure we've all been threatened before. I've never done it before, but apparently if you do it, your scissor gets blunt. So I'm not going to test that theory out, so I'll just keep them separate, paper and fabric scissor. Then we will need some tape, as we need to tape our pattern together. Then you'll obviously need your sewing machine and your overlocker, your serger. You will also need the pattern. It is completely free. It's on my website. I will link it down below and you can download it and then get that printed. There's A0 and A4. So this is what the A4 version will look like. It's a bunch of pages and you're going to end up sticking them together until you get one big piece. Make sure that you measure the test box. It must be exactly 10 by 10 centimeters. Another option, if you don't want to cut through your actual pattern page, you can just get some tracing paper like this, place it over the pattern, and then you can trace over your size. The size guide is on my website. If you're unsure which size to go with the bigger size, and you'll see that each size has a specific color and there's two lines, the straight line and the dotted line. Make sure that you cut on the dotted line, that's your seam allowance. And then also, just a reminder, use your paper scissors. For the sample, I've used a medium, and then when you've got all your pieces cut out, prepare your fabric. Make sure you have your selvages lining up like this. So this is the edge of the fabric here. So not the edge where you had the fabric cut, the other edge. They must line up like this. This is just something small that will help your garment look a little bit more professional in the end. On the frill, we need to notch our pattern. This is where the side seams will line up. Now we're going to place our pattern pieces onto the fabric, and as you can see on your pattern pieces, you've got this grain line. So this grain line means it needs to run exactly in line with the selvage. So remember the selvage that we just folded? That line needs to run parallel with that. The reason to trace the pattern is that you get a more accurate copy of the pattern onto the fabric. So you can actually just go ahead and cut if you would like to do that, but sometimes it's not as accurate. So this is the more accurate option. So we're just going to go ahead and then trace all the way around the pattern. Just a reminder to use a water erasable marker and not a permanent marker, because we don't want lines all over our pieces. Then we can go ahead and cut all our pattern pieces out. So now that we've got the frill cut out, just make a little notch here in the middle. This is where we'll line up with the side seam. Now we can go ahead and set up our machine. This is my favorite part of the sewing process, is to actually start sewing the garments. We can pin front and back side seams together and then sew it on 1 centimeter. Then from there you can use your overlocker and overlock that seam. Now we need to gather the curved edge of the frill. Make sure that you set your stitch length to 4.5 or higher. Then you're going to sew 2 rows of basting stitches. Make sure not to lock your stitches. Overlock the other side. So now we will take our scallop and place it just above the overlocking, like this. Then we're going to pin it, and then we're going to sew right in the middle of the scallop. So we're going to sew a straight stitch all the way. I love scallop edging so much. It's so subtle, but it transforms the whole garment completely. As you can see on my dress here around the neckline, I've also added scallop. I just love it so much. Now we can iron the seam down. Then from there, we're going to top stitch all the way around on both frills. Then we can gather the frill until it fits onto the seam of the shorts. When it's the same measurement, then we can sew it on 1 centimeter and then overlock. Make sure the seam faces up into the shorts, and then we're going to give it a top stitch down. Then we'll sew the inside leg seam, sew it, and then overlock. Once that is done, take one leg, turn it inside out, and then place the other one on the inside so that they're right sides together. I start usually by the inside leg seam. Make sure that seam lines up, and then I pin up to the front crotch, and then afterwards the back crotch, making sure everything lines up perfectly. When we sew the crotch area, always sew a triple stitch. There's a lot of tension in this area. This will just make it extra strong. This is what it looks like, and then overlock as well. Now we're ready to move on to the elastic in the waist. So this you need to measure on yourself. So you're going to determine where your belly button is. Just about 2 fingers below that, you're going to take the elastic and you're going to pull it around and measure to what's comfortable for you. So about here, that feels good. So I'm just going to hold my finger at that size. Make sure that it can go over your hips as well. So here, it must be nice and steady, but not too tight. And then must be able to go over the hips as well. If you're happy with that size, then you can go ahead and cut it. We'll sew the edges together using a zigzag. Then divide your elastic in 4 equal parts and then mark it. Each point should line up with a seam. So I'm going to place the elastic on the inside of the pants, matching each point on the elastic to a seam on the shorts. Then we're ready to sew. So as you can see, I'm pulling the elastic until the fabric is flat, and I'm just basting the elastic down. So we're sewing from pin to pin, making sure that the easing is even all the way around. Now it should look like this. Then we can go ahead and overlock that as well. From there, we can fold over the seam. So the edge of the elastic must be flush at the top. Make sure that the elastic doesn't curl over or make any bubbles. So now, as you can see, I'm just pinning where the seams are, folding it over, making sure everything lines up. Then we can go ahead and top stitch that, and then the same thing, you will need to pull it as you sew. So just ease it in and make sure there's no bubbles. Try and pull the fabric as smooth as possible. Don't rush through this step. Try and take your time so you can do it as neatly as possible. Then when you're done with the first row, I like to do a second row. So just below that one, about 5 millimeters, I'm going to do a second row of stitches. You'll see that the double row of stitches just gives it more of a professional finish. I just love it so much. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to like and subscribe. If there's anything else that you want to see, please let me know. And also, I would love to see how your shorts came out, so please send me pictures. Let me know how they came out. If you've got any questions, just leave them down below and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching.